Hello folks and welcome back to Spike Pit. Are you OSR curious? Well, today we're diving into the world of OSR gaming and exploring 7 ways that new players can make a fantastic start with this branch of the hobby. If you're coming from modern editions of Dungeons and Dragons, or perhaps you are new to tabletop RPGs, this is the episode for you. First up, embrace the chaos. OSR games, much like the original Dungeons and Dragons released in 1974, are known for their unpredictability. In those early days, players faced a world where a single roll of the dice could lead to unexpected consequences, be it a trap, a monster, or even a player character's untimely demise. In modern D&D, the rules are often designed to guide you through a structured narrative. Contrast this with OSR games where players are encouraged to think on their feet. In old school play, don't be afraid to make bold decisions. Be ready to improvise and adapt. Your character might find themselves in a situation that's not covered by the rules, and that's okay. Use creativity and work with your DM to navigate these moments. Remember, the essence of OSR gaming is about storytelling and having fun. You'll often find yourself straying away from that rulebook. Talking of rulebooks, Frank Mentor's 1983 revision of TSR's Dungeons & Dragons and Basic Rules remain to this day one of the best instructional guides to playing and running classic old school D&D. Written with a younger audience in mind than the earlier books, it still serves as a highly approachable and informative introduction for those curious about this particular style of play. Another classic book that really delivers as a great instructional guide is TSR's adventure module, B2, The Keep on the Borderlands. It's a solid starting base location for PCs to stock up on supplies and rest between adventures and interact with NPCs. Additionally, there's a wilderness area to explore, allowing the DM to experiment with random encounters and overland travel en route to the Caves of Chaos, a dynamic living dungeon location with interacting humanoid factions. Next, let's talk about character creation as a storytelling tool. With the quickly generated random attributes and limited class and race abilities of OSR games, your backstory can tend to have a greater influence on your gameplay. This approach harkens back to the early days of D&D, where character creation was a personal and creative process, less reliant on attribute and skill builds. Instead of focusing on filling out a character sheet, think about who your character is and how they fit into the world. This is your opportunity to weave a narrative that can influence your actions and decisions. Develop a backstory that excites you. It doesn't have to be complex. Even a few sentences can give your character lots of depth. Think about their motivation, their fears, and how they might react in various situations. Moving on to tip 3, learn the rules, then break them. OSR systems often have a more flexible approach to rules than modern games. Original D&D was famously sparse in rules, leaving much to the imagination of the players and the dungeon master. While it's important to understand the mechanics, don't be afraid to bend them to fit the narrative. If something feels right for the story, go for it. Remember, the goal is to have fun. If a creative idea pops into your head that might stretch the rules a bit, discuss this with your DM. For instance, if you want to use a spell in a unique way that isn't explicitly covered in the rules, pitch your idea. This is often called the rule of cool because of all the awesomely unforgettable moments it creates. Tip 4 is all about collaboration. OSR games thrive on teamwork and shared storytelling. In the early days of D&D, the focus was on parties working together to overcome challenges rather than PCs achieving individual glory. Instead of hogging the limelight, focus on how your characters can collaborate. This not only enhances the gameplay experience, but also fosters camaraderie among players. Encourage each other. Simple, fast-moving turns make it easy to share the spotlight and find opportunities to help your fellow players shine. This team spirit is what makes OSR gaming truly special. Now, let's explore some different styles of play. The beauty of OSR games lies in their diversity and flexibility. Unlike many modern editions of Dungeons & Dragons, which often have a set tone and style, OSR games encompass a wide range of themes and mechanics and storytelling approaches. In the early days of Dungeons and Dragons, play styles varied significantly depending on the group and the dungeon master's preferences. Let's quickly look at some types of play styles to explore. Dungeon crawling. This is perhaps the most classic OSR experience, inspired by modules like the aforementioned The Keep on the Borderlands or the infamous Tomb of Horrors. Dungeon crawling involves navigating through dungeons filled with monsters, traps and treasures. If you enjoy tactical combat and resource management, this style might be for you. Sandbox exploration. In sandbox style campaigns, the world is open for exploration and players have the freedom to choose their path. This style harkens back to the early D&D experience, where the GM presents a rich world and players decide where to go and what to do. It encourages creativity and player agency, allowing you to shape the story as you go along. Role-playing and storytelling. Some OSR games focus more on character-driven narratives and role-playing. If you love deep character development and engaging in rich dialogue with NPCs, look for campaigns that prioritise storytelling. This style suits games where the lore and character interactions play a significant role. Survival horror. This style emphasises the dangers and horrors of the world. It often involves resource scarcity and moral choices and a sense of dread. Games inspired by the early days of D&D often included elements of horror, and this style can lead to some intense and memorable sessions. Humour and lightheartedness. Not all games need to be serious. Some groups embrace a more humorous approach and where absurdity and fun can take centre stage. This can be a refreshing change and can lead to some hilarious moments that everyone remembers. Think about campaigns that might draw inspiration from parodies or light-hearted fantasy settings. As a new player, don't hesitate to express your interest to your GM and fellow players. Discuss what types of experience you're looking for. You might enjoy a mix of styles, or you might find that one resonates with you more than others. Tip 6 is about even more exploration. In OSR games, exploration is often a key component of gameplay, whether it's delving into a mysterious dungeon, navigating a treacherous wilderness, or uncovering ancient ruins. The thrill of discovery is central to the experience. Take your time to explore your surroundings. Don't rush through the encounters. Look for hidden clues, interact with the environment and with the lore. You never know what secrets you may uncover. Finally, tip 7. Reflect and adapt. After each session, take a moment to think about what worked and what didn't. I encourage you to discuss the experience with your DM and your fellow players, because taking time for reflection can really help you grow as a player and enhance your future games. So there you have it, folks. 7 ways to get started in exploring the earlier editions of Dungeons and Dragons and the OSR scene. And as always, thanks for taking time out of your day to watch old Spike Pit. Take care, and I'll catch you later.